South China Sea. What are the hidden forces behind the South China Sea issue? Philippines to buy 5 patrol boats from Japan amid South China Sea tensions. The Philippines will purchase 5 patrol vessels from Japan amid growing tensions in the South China Sea. The deal will be financed through a Japanese loan worth about 23.9 billion pesos, $415 million, and was signed by Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo and Japanese Ambassador Endo Kazuya, the Philippine Foreign Affairs Department said in a statement on its website Friday. This occasion signifies not only the deepening of bilateral relations between the Philippines and Japan, but also underscores our unwavering commitment to enhance our maritime safety capabilities for the benefit of our nation and the broader maritime community, Manalo said. The Philippines is beefing up its naval resources as tensions escalate with China over the South China Sea. Japan, together with Australia and the United States, affirmed their position in April that a 2016 South China Sea Arbitral Tribunal award that favored the Philippines over China in their maritime dispute as final and legally binding. Under the loan program, Japan previously agreed to provide the Southeast Asian country with 10 44-meter-long patrol ships in 2013 and 2 97-meter-long vessels in 2016. Deliveries of the just-announced 5 ships are expected to take place between 2027 and 2028. Last December, the Philippine Coast Guard said it would build a facility in Subic Bay of Luzon Island for use by the procured large patrol ships. The publication of the new rules, which will come into force on June 15, coincided with a civilian mission started last Wednesday by the Philippines to assert its claims near the second Thomas Shoal, at the center of a dispute with China. The government of China has strengthened the powers of the Coast Guard, which can now subject all foreigners suspected of having illegally crossed national borders to administrative detention for up to 60 days and without trial. The publication of the new rules, which will come into force on June 15, coincided with a civilian mission started last Wednesday by the Philippines to assert its claims near the second Thomas Shoal, at the center of a dispute with China in the China Sea Southern. According to the regulation, the Coast Guard can impose up to 30 days of detention on foreigners who violate the rules of entry and exit from China. For more complicated cases, the deadline can be extended by up to 60 days, subject to approval from a higher-level Coast Guard agency. The Philippine civic group Ateneo Coalition defined as a great victory the demonstration action organized and undertaken this week, when hundreds of Filipino boats headed towards the fishing reserves near the Scarborough Shoal, the object of cross-claims by the Philippines and China. An improvised flotilla of hundreds of Philippine fishing boats set course on Wednesday for the Scarborough Shoal in the South China Sea, the subject of a bitter territorial dispute between the Philippines and China. On board the boats were fishermen and activists from the civic group, which the day before had already sent a team of 10 people to the same area to conduct a preliminary reconnaissance. In the end, Scarborough was reached by only part of the flotilla, made up of 5 commercial ships and 100 fishing boats, while the rest of the vessels reversed course before reaching their destination. The mission achieved a great victory when its advance group arrived in the vicinity of the Penetag, Scarborough Shoal, and was able to supply fishermen in the area, Ateneo spokesperson Eamon Heisen said today. The demonstration, aimed at bolstering Manila's claims to Scarborough and surrounding resources, was praised among others by Commodore J. Tarila, Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea. According to the official, Ateneo's goal was to provide aid and support to Philippine fishermen in waters that have recently been the scene of repeated clashes between vessels from the two countries. The flotilla was accompanied by a single Philippine Coast Guard patrol vessel and deposited a series of territorial buoys along the way to demarcate the route used to supply Philippine fishermen. Just 2 weeks ago, in those very waters, a Chinese Coast Guard vessel used water cannons against a Philippine vessel, causing damage. In recent months, relations between China and the Philippines have been punctuated by numerous incidents in the waters of the South China Sea, a basin through which more than 60% of world sea trade passes, approximately $5.300 billion of goods a year, and 65% of China's foreign trade. Beijing claims almost all of it on the basis of the so-called Nine-Dash Line, which since then has demarcated the portion of the sea that China considers under its sovereignty. Opposing Chinese claims are Taiwan and all the coastal countries. Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, and the Philippines. As China's international ambitions have grown, Beijing's aggressiveness has also increased, which in recent years has started a rush to militarize many of the atolls and reefs that underpin the South China Sea. As well as more frequent, there have been accidents and risks of clashes between military ships and civilians from coastal countries. More and more often, in recent months, such episodes have concerned the Chinese and Philippine Coast Guards and, above all, the Second Thomas Shoal. The Spratly Archipelago falls within Manila's exclusive economic zone, EEZ, as confirmed in 2016 by a ruling from the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, which, however, has always been ignored by Beijing. China, which considers those islands part of its territory, frequently uses its Coast Guard to remove, often with the use of water cannons, Philippine ships sent from Manila on a supply mission to the approximately 20 soldiers stationed at Perp Sierra Mother. In this regard, the Philippine government reiterated its determination to maintain its military outpost in Second Thomas. Philippine National Security Council spokesman Jonathan Malaya said Manila intended to reevaluate refueling arrangements, but would not allow anyone to remove the wreckage of the ship.